Have you done your taxes yet? Have you filled out? Have you even started? If you haven't, that's okay. But something surprised me when I was filling out my taxes, and there was a question on there if I wanted to sign up my child for a Trump account. You maybe have heard about this new account, this new financial opportunity for your kids, and there's a lot of questions out there about that. I had a lot of questions, so we went out, we were looking for a financial expert to help us with this, and luckily we have found a good one. Joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, it's Megan Slatter, a wealth advisor from Crewe Advisors. Thanks for being here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi, Ben. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So many questions about this. People are filling out their taxes and they're asked, hey, do you want this new account to sign your kid up? You might get $1,000 for it. And a lot of people have no idea what this is. So what are these new accounts?
You know, I had the best phone call last week from a client who they were doing exactly what you just mentioned, completing their tax return, getting ready, saw that little $45, $47. Do I set this up for my child? They're pregnant with their first baby. They call me up. What am I supposed to do? And we got to walk through all of those mechanics. Now, for them, part of the rules to set up a Trump account is you have to have a social security number. And since his wife is still pregnant, we don't technically have that yet. So they're on hold. However, we ended with kind of breaking down the priorities and goals for each of those accounts and if it's appropriate. With the Trump account, I like to think through why would the federal government be setting these up? What's the even goal and underlying purpose? And I don't think it's news for you or me or any of your colleagues that there is concern on future retirement and how we're going to fund it. I know I'm concerned about some of our peers just in my age group, let alone for my kids and eventually their kids. All conversations all the time about Social Security running out and having enough money set aside, and can my kids afford to buy a home? Well, this Trump account is earmarked for future wealth generation building. The goal is to help get the kids started early so that they will have a future retirement savings account set aside for them once they're older than 59 and a half or headed into that retirement age.
So this is a retirement account that you can start right away for your kids. You don't have to wait like the rest of us, like when we have an employer and there's a 401k or we're putting in an IRA. This is basically a retirement account that starts right out of the gate.
Exactly. Only there's even a few more rules that are a little bit more beneficial for the Trump accounts while your kids are under age 18 than with a traditional retirement account. And these rules are what's allowing the federal government to fund $1,000 into each one of these accounts. Now, I don't know about you, I've never heard of this happening. I would love to take advantage of the federal government funding money into my kids' future retirement accounts and taking advantage of that now. This
is an opportunity. I know some people I have talked to, they don't like there's a politician's name in the account. But if you take away the name of it and you just think about what is this, what does it do? So who's eligible for the $1,000 seed money that will be in there when the accounts are opened?
So for the seed money, kids have to be born within the last year up until I believe it's 2028. That age bracket can click the $1,000 from the U.S. Treasury. However, there's a lot of companies that are nationally starting to pledge for their employees to also either match that or make contributions in addition to that. You've got Bank of America, Chipotle, Uber, Visa, all of these company matches. So take a look at that in addition to potential seed money, because some of those company matches are eligible for kids older, clear up until maybe age 10. So maybe you could get some for your kids all over.
Our company just made news this week by announcing Fox Corporation's on board, and they'll be putting $1,000. And do they have to be the newborn, or is this for any kid who's under 18 who can open up one of these accounts?
Well, so most kids can open it up. However, to actually get the seed money from the U.S. government, it's only up until, I think from last year until age 20 or year 2028. The employer contributions are a little bit more different. There is, I believe it's like a 10-year window for kids where you can actually open up the Trump accounts. You're just not going to get access to that seed money, but maybe some of the corporate donors. So I have an 11-year-old, and unfortunately she's kind of phased out for access to a lot of this. So we start to look for some different solutions, but other kids younger than that, definitely look into it.
Okay, I have a 5-year-old, and it makes me think, okay, there are different advantages to this Trump account. You can take the money out tax-free for things like college, or a new
Well,
house. Yeah,
not necessarily.
Let's talk about that.
So the Trump account will be underneath those Trump rules until age 18, or I shouldn't say the Trump rules, but the Trump account rules, meaning anyone can make a contribution. You have a maximum amount of $5,000, and you don't have to have earned income, which you traditionally do with funding a retirement account. When the child turns age 18, it essentially converts to a traditional IRA. And at that point, the rules are what governs all of us with a traditional IRA. Now, I would highly recommend you look at converting it to a Roth IRA at that point. And at age 18, that's when you might have some access to maybe some education or $10,000 for your first time home purchase. But you are going to be taxed on the growth of any of those assets. So not those original contributions, but the growth, you will pay a tax on those. If you use it for anything outside of education, or maybe $10,000 for a first-time home purchase, you could also be paying a 10% early penalty.
Just like those, taking out your 401k too early, something like that. Let's talk about a different kind of account that a lot of people sign up for when they're thinking of their kids' future, and that's those 529s. Those are college savings accounts. Those have been around for a little bit. So what are those types of accounts, and what's the advantage of putting money in there?
The 529s are fantastic. Those are earmarked for education. So recognizing any funds that are being contributed to a 529 plan really should be used for qualified education purposes. You can use those for kids, though, under the age of 18. You can use $10,000 a year to help fund, let's say they're going to a private school. Those, as long as it's a qualified education expense, then you should be able to use up to $10,000 a year under age 18. Now, the nice part with the 529s is you're not limited at just $5,000 a year in the contribution amount, and anyone can fund those 529 plans, just like the Trump account. They're really popular as an estate planning tool as well, because typically, the parent or grandparent will own the account, and they'll continue to own the account after your child turns 18. Whereas with the Trump account, and it could, at age 18, when it converts to a traditional IRA, your kid now owns it. So the 529s, you have a little bit more control. And if you don't use it all for education for your child, you can change the beneficiary. You could pass it on to your grandkids someday. This could be a perpetual way to fund future education purposes generations down the road.
Really interesting. So, okay, I've got a 5-year-old, and now you've just told us about these two different accounts. Where should I be putting my money as a parent? Should I be putting it in this Trump account, or now should I be putting it still in my 529 account? I'm confused on this.
Well, I would start with your goal. What's the underlying goal? Are you looking to fund for education or for future retirement? If it's for education, the 529 all the way. With a Trump account, if whatever you're eligible to get from for free seed funding, whether it's from your employer or from the U.S. Treasury, take advantage from that. But maybe don't add in your personal contributions. I would look to some different solutions. See if your child isn't eligible for a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA or even a Coverdell plan or the 529. For your money, fund it into some of those other accounts. For the Trump account, take advantage of people who want to fund into it, the federal government and employers.
Either way, we need to change the mindset, I think, as a country about investment. I feel like I was part of a generation of debt because our parents, when I went to college, I never had a conversation with my parents about my financial future. I just loaded on a bunch of college debt that took me literally decades to pay off. And I know a lot of people around my age in the same boat. And I think as parents now, we're all like, we don't want our kids to be in the same position. And here's an opportunity that even if you have a few bucks to throw into one of these accounts, it could make a world of difference for your kid's future.
Yeah, it really can, especially as we continue to see education costs rising. And let's say your child doesn't want to do the traditional bachelor degree route and they want to go to a trade school. 529 plans, you can use those to pay for those schools. We're seeing, I joke with my colleagues, it's easier for me to get a CPA or an attorney, try to find a qualified electrician or plumber. That's a lot more challenging. And you can use 529s to help fund those specific programs, that education program as well.
Well, if you have questions, just find a qualified wealth advisor like Megan Slatter over at Crewe Advisors. So thanks for coming on the Wisconsin Live Desk and kind of explaining what these accounts are, because I think people, when the box pops up, when you're on your, I don't know, TurboTax or whatever, and you're like, what is this? Well, now we know. Thanks for coming on and telling us.
Thanks, Ben. It's nice to see you.
Appreciate you joining us. Come back anytime. Really good stuff there. Really important that you, save something. Just something. If you got a kid in your life, throw something out for your kid there. They will thank you, especially me, who, again, I didn't like paying all those student loans forever. We all have.